All right. Hey, team. Welcome to our weekly Monday Night Huddle. Super excited that we are huddling up this week again. I will not be huddling with you guys next week, but Tristan Goodlow is going to be running the show next week. So we will have huddle still next week. And we will have Sunday Night Hustle as well. So feel free to jump on those. I leave this Saturday morning for Maui, which is ridiculous. I don't even understand what's happening. I went to go try to find some things today, and evidently summer stuff isn't out anymore. So we'll see how that works out with my wardrobe. But okay, so I think that's it really for announcements. We're trying to work on the whole health and happy hour thing, and so I was going to get some feedback from you guys at the end. But having them weekly was getting to be a struggle, trying to find enough testimonies from our own team to share. So I'm going to ask y'all for feedback at the end, if we want to do those less often but still make them our team, or if we want to start asking outside teams to do them. So we'll talk about it at the end, but that's an announcement. We are going to continue with Health and Happy Hour. We're just trying to fine tune it, since it is such a great resource to use. Okay, so tonight we are talking about, and I'm just kind of going to share, you guys know how I am. I have notes, but we'll see how this goes. I'm just going to kind of share what I've been thinking about with you guys. I called it rhythms and routines. So rhythms and routines. Does anyone on here long for balance? Like you just feel like balance would be amazing? Okay, nobody? Okay, so everyone on here has realized balance is a myth, right? So you wanted balance at some point in your life, but you realize, okay, balance might not actually exist. That's how I am. I've always wanted balance in my life, but I think I've just come to acknowledge that balance isn't probably going to happen anytime soon. So I'm starting to realize that there's rhythms, there's routines that help me feel like I'm being efficient, productive, successful, sane. Sanity is important on this journey. And so I kind of want to just share what I've been doing. And I know I've talked to some of you guys about this, but I'm going to just kind of dig into it a little bit deeper. And I also want to share with you guys the vision I have for our team. So we always say your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So that means what my vibe is hopefully attracting people that are similar to that. And what your vibe is hopefully attracting people who are similar to that. So if you think about that, are you attracting the right, think about your vibe. What are you putting off into the world? How are you building your business? How are you setting your schedule? How are you living up to your goals? And if you're doing awesome at that, that's great, because you're probably going to start attracting people who are similar to that. If you're not, that's okay, but stop, think about what vibe you have, and if that's not the kind of tribe you're wanting to attract, let's work on that vibe. Let's work on those rhythms, those routines, those things that you're doing in your business, or maybe those things you're not doing, so that you can start attracting those people that you want on your team. So here's the deal. There are lots of different teams in Plexus. There are teams that are just like, okay, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. There are teams who are just, there's just so many different types of teams in Plexus. So when I think about what I want my team to look like, I thought about it this past week. I have to be clear in who I want on our team, because I need to make sure I'm putting off that vibe to attract those people, and that we all are on the same page. So I'm just going to share with you guys the vision I have for our team. I want our team to be full of women who are intentional, not just in our businesses, but in every single area of our lives. I do not want to have a team full of women that are exhausted, that are drained, that are overwhelmed, that work their businesses to the bone, that they are not even enjoying the freedom that this should be bringing us, okay? I see that happen so often in this industry, that you work, and then you get so caught up in the working that you're not enjoying the fruits of your labor. So my vision is to have a team full of women that are intentional in their businesses, intentional in their families, intentional in your home life, that to-do list that you want to do with your house. I want us to be intentional in those areas and not feel like you have to put that on the back burner until you're a diamond, right? Intentional in our communities, intentional in our friendships. I want us to be women that wake up with purpose in our hearts, and we pursue the things that we feel we have been called to do, with Plexus, obviously, and with the rest of our lives. I don't want you to work Plexus all the time. However, I do feel like Plexus should be kind of just an overflow of who we are. Like, I don't want you to be on the clock all the time, but I want you to be so passionate about what we have to offer in terms of our community, our friendships, our products, our opportunity, that it's just kind of a natural extension of who you are wherever you go, whether you talk Plexus to somebody or whether you don't. Okay, I just want it to kind of be a part of who you are because you're passionate about it. So like I said, I don't want us to be a team full of women that are so focused on just working our businesses like crazy that we're not intentional with what the Lord has put on our plates for right now. So balance may be a myth, but rhythms are real. So rhythms, I was talking with Heather Burke about this a couple weeks ago. I never get on the phone. You guys know me, I'm not a phone person because of this stage of life, but we actually jumped on the phone to talk about rhythms of life. Because I was getting to a point in my business, you guys, where I felt like I had to be all or nothing. And that's not a healthy place to be, and that's how my personality is in general. But with Plexus, I've always been able to be like all in, and the fact that I was getting to a point where I was like all in or nothing was starting to be like, okay, something's got to change. If I feel like I have to work my business all the time to be successful, then I'm either not duplicating right with our team, or I'm not creating boundaries in my life. So we talk about rhythms of life to help focus on what I needed to focus on, to be more effective and intentional when I do work my business. So you don't need to work your business all the time to be successful, but you do need to work it with intention in order to be successful. So I hope this is making sense. Does anyone kind of understand what I'm saying? I was under the impression that in order for me to go sapphire, in order for me to go diamond, I have to work myself to the bone. And you guys know my season of life. It was so easy for me to make the excuse, no wonder I'm not sapphire. No wonder I'm not diamond. I have 4 little kids. So it's so easy for me. They are my why. My family is my why. It was so easy for me to be like, I wasn't saying it out loud, but I was listening to the thoughts in my head when I'm sitting there nursing my baby. Of course I'm not sapphire. I don't have time to work my business like so-and-so. You guys, I preach all the time, comparison is the thief of joy. But I wasn't saying those things out loud, so I didn't think I was thinking bad things, right? You guys, it's all in our heads. I was letting those comparative thoughts go through my head all day, every day. No wonder I didn't earn the shopping spree. I'm not working my business like so-and-so and so-and-so. And that is not healthy. I was realizing that I don't have to work this 40 hours a week to reach my goals. I just have to be intentional with the time I do set aside. And if I do have to work this 40 hours a week to be the level of success I want to be, that's okay. There are definitely people who are working this 40 hours a week, and if that's what they want, that's what they want. That's not my goal. My goal is to have that time freedom so that I can show other women that this can be done in a balanced, healthy way that doesn't have to sacrifice the most important things to you. Whether that's your family, whether that's traveling, whether that is one of your favorite shows on TV. Yes, there's a level of sacrifice that comes in this business for seasons, but it shouldn't have to be, okay, for 2 years, I'm going to ignore my little kids so I can get to the top of this company. That is not what I want. That is not the plan the Lord has for me. And so I'm learning to be intentional with what he's given me. And you guys know I'm big on like a word of the year. And last year, towards the end of December, I was trying to figure out what word the Lord wanted me for this year. And I was pregnant with Isaiah. And I just kept hearing like intentional and receive, but they weren't like together. It was like I kept hearing intentional, and then later on I started hearing receive, and I'm like, well, which one? You know, I need one or the other. And it hit me a couple weeks ago. The reason the Lord gave me those words in that order, there's a purpose. And I feel like when he told me those, when it dawned on me, it's not just for me, it's for all of us, you guys. He wants us to be intentional with what he's blessed us with. He wants us to be intentional with what he's given us. And I'm sorry if I'm getting all preachy on y'all. You know, that comes out from time to time because I feel like I have to share what takes me forever to realize. It's only, September. I've been meditating on these words for 9 months, and it's just now hit me. But being intentional with what he's given us, and then that's when we receive more. He wants to give us more in life. He wants to bless us more. He is a good father that has endless and endless and endless and endless. It's not this short supply, and he's like, okay, well, that's all I had for you. Sorry, you've got 40 more years on this earth, and that's all I had. Sorry. But we need to be intentional with what he's given us. And what I mean by that is he's given you your family, your friends, your health, your, your dreams, your business, all the different things he's given you, your job. And if we're not being intentional in those areas, it's not that he wants to withhold more from us. It's just, if we're not being good stewards of what he's already given us, am I prepared to be diamond if I'm not being a good steward with my time as an emerald? My time as a diamond would be even more, more and more and more would be pulling at me as a diamond than as an emerald, right? So if I'm not being intentional with my schedule, with my family, as an emerald, as a gold, as a silver, wherever you are, if you're not being intentional now, it's not going to get easier. You have to be intentional with what he's given you right now in order to be prepared for that next season to receive more. He wants to give us more, but we have to be in a place where we're capable of receiving more, where we're even open to receiving more. So that's what I've been struggling with. And so I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that as well. Does anyone else ever feel like you have to give this your all in order to see any kind of success? If that's how you feel, I pray that you don't feel that way, that the Lord shows you how you can do this in a successful way without it being your all in all, okay? So just kind of sharing some rhythms with you guys that are working for me. And this is kind of where I'm going to be going here on out. I'm still going to be present with our team because that is like my favorite. But I'm really focusing on my personal business and those rhythms. Hang on a second. I'm trying to make sure we don't have, okay. So my rhythms and routines, I'm starting to have margin in my life. If you guys don't have margin in your life, that's a great place to start. Knowing when you're going to work your business is super, super important, but also knowing when you're not working your business. It's okay to be off the clock. I was listening to an Emily Gibson video a few weeks ago, and it was so smart. She was saying, okay, when you have a real job, do you wake up at work? If you're waking up at your office, there's a problem, right? Most people wake up at home, they take a shower, they drink their coffee, they eat some breakfast, they drive to work, and then they work, right? So why do we as Plexus ambassadors, and I've been doing so much better at it, why do we wake up, roll over in our bed, and go like this, and start checking notifications as if, your team needed you at midnight last night? Do you really think we're that important that you missed a ton during the night? Okay. So that was huge when I heard her say that, is it's okay to wake up, take time for yourself before you even check your phone, before you check your notifications. It's okay to have breakfast with your kids and not feel like, oh my gosh, okay, I really need to hurry up so I can get started. And maybe you guys don't feel that way, but that's how I had been feeling. Like every single free second needed to be on the clock, basically. And so So know when you work your business, but also know when you don't work your business. So I'm doing better about not doing it first thing in the morning, and I'm really focusing on getting my kids to school before I even get started opening notifications. But another margin I've created for myself is from 4 to 7 p.m. I am not checking messages. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that, because that's like go time at our house for dinner time and bath time. So pick some margin. If you feel overwhelmed and frazzled with your business, have some margin, have some no phone zones. If that's taking the weekends off from social media, that's completely acceptable. That's fine. That's okay. Know when you're working, know when you're not working. Have those boundaries. Let's see what else. Some more rhythms. For me, okay, so for a lot of people, the 5-3-1 works. You know, reach out to 5 people, follow up with 3, train 1 person. That doesn't work so well for me. So what I'm doing is I have a certain day of the week that I do all the different things, all the different income producing activities. And so that way I know Mondays are my busy day of getting a lot of stuff done. So for my Plexus business, Mondays I'm posting in Facebook groups. I'm interacting in Facebook groups. I'm doing those things. Tuesdays is when I do my reach outs all day not all day, but during my business hours Tuesdays, I'm doing my reach outs. So that way I have a full hour of reaching out to people, having good conversations. Wednesdays, I'm growing my network. I'm adding Facebook friends. Thursdays, I'm following up and replying to messages, because as those conversations keep going, I want to make sure I'm not leaving any conversation lingering. And then Fridays, I'm following up more and talking to people that I've offered samples to. And then on Sundays, during Sunday Night Hustle, I make my list of 25 people that I'm reaching out to that week, and I'm planning my posts. I want to make sure I'm having good posts. So that works for my brain, and that's just a rhythm that I've been in the last few weeks. So you have to find rhythms that work for you, because you guys, this is not a business that should take us all day, every day. And I know for a lot of us, we feel overwhelmed in life, whether it's Plexus or not. But typically, Plexus is one of the first things that tends to go, because we are so overwhelmed. But what we have in our hands it literally will change everything for us, but we have to work it smarter. We have to work it with intention and purpose. So hang on.